Alright, so today we got a quick unboxing for you guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Sony FDR AX700 Handycam camcorder. They have two other versions, one called the AX53, which is the lower tier model, and then they have an AX100, which I do not believe Sony makes anymore. So I believe they discontinued that AX100, so you only have technically two to choose from, which is this one here and the lower tier AX53. Firstly, we're just going to take a look what's in the box and go start there. So let's go ahead and do that and open it up here. So typical camcorder camera boxing, essentially. Nothing too typical there. You got right on top instruction manual, which is pretty thick, so I'm assuming it comes in multiple languages. Okay, and then we flip this other box tab thing down here. And we got several accessories that comes with it, which is kind of nice. First of which is a lens hood. So typically prosumer, pro-grade camcorders do come with a lens hood just to reduce some of that lens flare that you get from shooting in bright sunlight conditions. So that's nice that's included. Then we do, specific to this AX700, you get an oversized eyepiece cup that you attach to the eyepiece on the camcorder, and it can be orientated for either your left eye or right eye, depending on which one you want to look through. But only the AX700 comes with this, but it is a really neat, nice thing to have, because this really helps cut out some light that may be leaking through when you're viewing through the viewfinder. Okay, right here it does also come with a power adapter in the box, which is super nice. So you can charge your battery using this, as well as power the camera directly from a wall outlet. So moving on, talking about battery, we have the included battery right here. It is the Info Lithium battery, which is a 70 amp 1900 milliamp capacity battery. And then we have another piece of cabling here. We have the other end to that power adapter that goes into the wall. And then this is an interesting piece. We have a IR remote, so you can essentially control the camera wirelessly using this remote if you are in a... And then down in here we have one last cable, and that's a USB 3.0 cable for transferring data to your computer. So let's go ahead and get the camera out of here. And there we go. There is the camera right there. It is a pretty hefty sized camera, but it is also significantly smaller than some of the higher end pro-grade cameras that are upper level of this one. Then Sony does actually sell those. They are geared more towards the professional side of things. Again, like I said, this one is more geared towards the prosumers. But for my use case, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I already own an AX53 as well as a AX100, and this one is a tad bigger than the AX100 and significantly bigger than the AX53. But what this basically offers is you get some unique specific things that make it great for those prosumers such as myself that want to use this particular type of camcorder, and that is for YouTube videos and as well as for my photography and or videography business that I own. It works really, or will be working really great for that. But to give a kind of quick look around it, you do have this big protrusion on the side, which is essentially more or less a hand grip, but it does obviously serve a bunch of other purposes other than just being a grip. It does have the strap on here, so you can make sure to hopefully not drop it when you're using it handheld. And then you have a really large sized telephoto and wide angle zoom slider, or rocker I guess you could say, right here, which is really, really, really nice. If you've ever used a lower tier camcorder before, you'll really appreciate this, because you get some fine-grained, fine-tuned control using that, which is incredibly nice. Then you also have a dedicated a photo button, which can also be mapped to something else. And that's another thing about this camcorder that is pretty cool. There are 6 total buttons that can be remapped to effectively whatever setting you would like to get quick access to it. So by default, this one is set to both either photo and or focus magnifier. So it serves kind of two functions out of the box. And then there's another button over here which is defaulted to iris push, and I haven't actually used that, so I'm not sure what that does yet. Then we have a blank button here, which can just be simply mapped again to a setting. They're currently out of the box. That does not have any function. Then we have a couple of connectors. You have a microphone input and a multi-connector, which is to be used with various different accessories that Sony offers. Can be connected straight through there, which is super nice. It does have NFC as well as Wi-Fi connectivity to send videos and or photos to your smartphone. And it does have a remote connect right here, which is really nice for a wired remote control. And then on the back, we've got several more things. You have what I really like, actually. If we get this little door open here, you have a full-size HDMI out. So you can plug this directly into an external monitor or an external recording device via full-size HDMI, which is incredibly nice. That is another reason why I picked this particular camcorder up, is for that full-size port. Then we have the record button there, a little thumbstick to navigate the menus, the viewfinder, which is an OLED or an OLED viewfinder that is real high resolution as well. So viewing this is super nice and really clear. You can actually see your focus really, really well. And then next to that, you have a proximity sensor, so it'll turn the viewfinder on or off depending on if your eye and or face is near the viewfinder at any given point. Down here, power jack to charge and or power the camera, battery obviously right there. Then we have built-in ND filters right here, so you can do stops from either clear, which is off, and then you have 1, 2, 3. If you're in a very sunlit, bright condition, you can adjust that and darken it down. We have an auto and manual control, so the camera offers both auto mode if you want to just record really quick and easily, or you can do manual mode, which is my preferred mode if you're going to be using it for more pro-related projects. Manual mode is primarily the way to go for that, because you get full control over the ISO, the aperture, and the shutter speed, which is really, really, really nice to have. On the side here, more stuff. Obviously, as we go through here, you can obviously tell by now that this camera or camcorder has an absolute large, huge amount of controls and buttons on it. But so right here we have a ring, a movable ring that you can use for either zoom and or focus, which is kind of nice to have. And then you have a button to go from either autofocus or manual focus. And then going back to those manual controls I was talking about just a minute ago, you have a menu button which gets you into obviously the settings to change the camera settings. But here we have aperture control, ISO control, and shutter speed control. And you control all three of these by pushing one and then adjusting it with this smaller dial right here. So you want to change the aperture, you press iris, and then you can adjust it up and down as long as you're in manual mode. So that's pretty nice. Then we have a headphone jack monitoring port if you want to monitor the audio via a pair of headphones while you're recording, which is nice. Okay, and then on the bottom, not too much to see here, just a tripod mount, which is pretty good. Obviously that's standard. On the top, again, we got these buttons right here. The microphone, which is a 5.1 channel surround stereo microphone, so it captures audio in 5.1 surround, which is quite nice. And then we do have a modified hot shoe here, so if I open up this hot shoe port, get it open here, it's basically a normal hot shoe that accepts typical hot shoe accessories. Now, the biggest change between this and the AX100 is the 100 has a smaller indentation for this hot shoe, meaning normal hot shoe accessories do not fit and require a third-party adapter to be able to fit on the camcorder, which I always to this day hated. So to see this go back to a much more traditional design is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. So really nice there. And it also is powered, so you can put certain Sony accessories on here, such as commanders and or wireless remotes, or microphones and stuff that can be transmitted through the little metal connectors right there built into the camera. So that's pretty nice. And then lastly, here on the front, we have an included lens cap, which is really good. And then right there is the Zeiss lens, which is a 2.8 f2.8 aperture, which is really good, and has a total of 18 times zoom. So opening it up here, we see the screen. The screen on here is also very high resolution, allowing you to see the content that you're trying to record, which is really good. And obviously you get all the controls. I'm not going to go into depth with the software because that's too much for this video. If you guys want to see a video of going in depth with the software, let me know down in the comments below, and I will certainly make a video about that. But anyway, so yeah, you get all that here. It's really nice. And what I was talking about, the info lithium, as you can see right there, it says 98%. Typical camcorder batteries don't give you any indication other than a battery bar. So it gives a nice percentage to see exactly how much battery is left in the battery. Okay, and then lastly, in the interior here, we have, again, several more buttons. So we've got a speaker right here. We have a slot selection for the memory cards, and I'll get to that in just a second. Preview for viewing the photos and or video. Power, display, which when you press display, it kind of changes the display controls. White balance, slow and quick motion, and that's another thing. So this camcorder actually has the ability to record ultra slow motion video at either 500 frames per second or up to 1,000 frames per second, depending on the mode that you select. So the fact that this can record super slow-mo at 1,000 frames, that is pretty incredible to me in a compact camcorder as it is here, which is crazy. Anyway, so moving on, we've got picture profile, and then we have a status check, which is also unique to this camera. So if you hit that, it gives you basically a rundown of various system statuses, various things here. You can go flipping through and see what kind of settings you've got currently set, and your memory card usage, as well as your battery and how much exactly is remaining. So that's pretty cool. So, and then you can press it again to go out. Okay, but then now getting back to that memory card slot, and this is another primary reason why I ordered this particular camcorder, and that is the fact that it has dual memory card capability, which allows you to put two separate SD cards in there. And my primary use for that is setting it to use the backup redundancy mode, which is essentially a mode that records both your photos and or videos to both of the cards simultaneously to act as a redundant backup, just in case if one of the cards were to get corrupted or fail. So if one of the cards failed, you don't lose all of your video and or content. It should theoretically be saved on that secondary card in the event of a failure. So the way my business and or photo and video business works, this is an absolute must, because if I ever have a card failure, that is an immediate loss of revenue and or profit for me, because if I lost an entire day's worth of work in terms of video and whatnot, I would lose quite a bit of money. So I had to do this. I had to invest to get that functionality at this current point in my business, because it's just, I can't live without that at this point, because all of my dedicated cameras as well, my Nikon cameras, all have backup redundancy in the memory card slot. So I had to get it on my video camera, since the videography side of things is taking off a little bit here. Anyway, I would say this camera is solid for the price. It checks all the boxes for me personally. Will be a really just overall good camcorder that for my business for video. So anyway, I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is, so I'm going to end it right here. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you guys have any questions at all, drop those down in the comment section below. And yeah, until the next one, peace out.